Warren Buffett was not like other boys. While most children liked to play outside or watch cartoons, Warren liked numbers. He liked to count everything: cars on the street, books in the library, even the steps from his house to school. He was born in Omaha, Nebraska in 1930. Omaha was a small, peaceful city in the heart of America. Warren grew up in a simple home with his mother, father, and two siblings. His father, Howard Buffett, worked as a stockbroker, helping people buy and sell shares in companies. His mother, Layla, stayed at home to care for the family. Even as a small boy, Warren was very curious. He asked many questions and loved to learn, but he did not enjoy school very much. He thought it was slow and boring. Instead, he wanted to learn about business. He loved reading books about money, numbers, and business stories. When he was only 10 years old, Warren had already read every book about investing in the local library. He liked learning from books more than from teachers. Warren's first business idea came when he was just 6 years old. One hot summer day, he walked to his grandfather's grocery store and bought a 6-pack of Coca-Cola bottles for 25 cents. Then, he went to his neighbors and sold each bottle for 5 cents. He made 30 cents total. That was 5 cents of profit. Warren was very excited. He learned something important: buy something at a low price and sell it for more. This simple lesson stayed in his mind. Soon, Warren tried new ideas. He sold chewing gum door to door. He also sold magazines. He didn't just want to make money. He wanted to understand people, what they liked to buy, and how to talk to them. These small lessons helped him build big ideas later in life. When he was 11 years old, Warren made his first real investment. He bought 3 shares of a company called City Service Preferred. Each share cost $38. That was a lot of money for a young boy. But Warren believed in his idea. Soon after, the price went down to $27. Warren became nervous. He waited. A few weeks later, the price went up to $40. He sold his shares and made a small profit. He was proud, but then he saw the stock rise even higher, all the way to $200. That moment gave him another big lesson: be patient. Don't sell too early. Trust your decision and wait for the right time. Warren didn't stop learning. He took on a paper route and delivered newspapers for the Washington Post every morning. He woke up very early, even when it was cold or raining. He saved most of the money he made. He was different from other kids. While they bought candy or toys, Warren saved every dollar. He believed that saving money was the first step to becoming rich. One of his favorite hobbies was playing pinball. One day, Warren and a friend bought a used pinball machine for $25. They cleaned it and placed it in a local barber shop. Many people liked to play it while waiting for a haircut. After just a few weeks, they earned enough money to buy more pinball machines. They placed them in more barber shops. Soon, Warren had several machines working for him. He called it making money while you sleep. This was his first experience with passive income, money that comes in without working all the time. Warren didn't have a big dream yet. He didn't know he would become one of the richest people in the world. But he was building something more important: a way of thinking. He was learning how to see the value in simple things. He was learning how to take small risks. And most of all, he was learning how to use his brain, not just for school, but for life. Warren Buffett's early years were not about big wins or luck. They were about curiosity, action, and learning. His success started not with money, but with a question: how can I do this better? That question followed him throughout his life, and that is where the real story begins. Warren Buffett never stopped asking questions. As a teenager, he became more serious about learning. He still reads every day, sometimes for hours. He did not just read school books. He read books about money, business, and people. He wanted to understand how the world worked. He often asked his teachers and parents questions like, "Why do some people get rich?" Or, "How does the stock market work?" Sometimes adults don't know the answers, but that didn't stop Warren. He kept looking for answers in books. When he turned 17, Warren decided to study business at the University of Nebraska. It was not far from his home in Omaha. He worked hard and finished his college degree in just 3 years. Most students needed 4 years. But Warren had a goal. He wanted to become a better investor. At school, he continued to ask many questions, especially about how companies make money and how to find good businesses. After graduating, Warren applied to Harvard Business School. He was excited and confident, but he was rejected. It was a big shock. Warren felt disappointed, but he did not give up. He found something better. He discovered that Benjamin Graham, a famous investor and author of The Intelligent Investor, was teaching at Columbia University in New York City. Graham had written the book that Warren loved the most. His ideas about value investing had already changed Warren's thinking. So Warren applied to Columbia and was accepted. Going to New York was a big change for Warren. The city was busy, fast, and full of new faces, but Warren stayed focused. He wanted to learn from Benjamin Graham. In class, Warren listened carefully. He took notes. He asked questions after every lesson. Sometimes he stayed behind just to talk with Professor Graham for a few extra minutes. Warren learned how to read financial reports. He learned how to find a company's real worth, not just its stock price. He also learned a very important idea: the margin of safety. That means buying a stock only when the price is much lower than what it's really worth. This gives you a safe space in case things go wrong. Warren admired Benjamin Graham. He didn't just see him as a teacher. He saw him as a mentor and a hero. One day, Professor Graham invited Warren to his office. They talked about life, business, and how to make smart decisions. That meeting made a big impression on Warren. He began to believe that investing could be both intelligent and honest. He learned that doing the right thing in business is not just kind, it is smart. After finishing his master's degree, Warren returned to Omaha. He went to work at his father's brokerage firm. His job was to study companies and tell clients which stocks to buy. But Warren had his own way of doing things. He remembered everything he learned from Benjamin Graham. He looked for companies that were cheap but strong. He didn't follow the crowd. He trusted numbers and facts. One company that caught his eye was Geico, an insurance business. Warren found out that Graham had invested in Geico too, so he decided to learn more. One Saturday, he traveled to Geico's office in Washington, D.C. The building was closed, but Warren knocked on the door anyway. One man was inside, Lorimer Davidson, a company executive. Warren introduced himself and asked if they could talk. Davidson invited him in, and they spoke for hours. Warren asked many questions, and Davidson answered them all. That day, Warren learned everything he needed to know. He believed Geico was a great company. He invested in it, and it became one of his best decisions. Warren Buffett was still young, but he was already building something powerful. A way of thinking. He believed in asking questions. He believed in learning deeply, and he believed in being brave enough to act on what he learned. His early education and mentorship with Benjamin Graham gave him the tools he needed. But it was Warren's own spirit, his curiosity and drive that made him different. He didn't just study success. He followed it with action, and step by step, he was getting ready to lead. Warren Buffett is one of the richest people in the world, but he does not live like a king. He lives a simple life in the same house he bought in 1958. The house is in Omaha, Nebraska, and it is not big or fancy. It looks like any other home on the street. Warren says he does not need a bigger house. He feels happy there. For him, comfort and routine matter more than luxury. Every morning, Warren wakes up early and reads the newspaper. He loves reading. It helps him learn new things and stay informed. Then, he drives himself to work. He does not have a driver or bodyguards. He drives a simple car and often gets breakfast from McDonald's. He usually chooses one of 3 cheap meals. He even decides which one to buy based on how the stock market is doing that morning. If the market is up, he spends a little more. If it is down, he spends less. Warren likes this small habit because it helps him stay grounded. At work, Warren's office is also very simple. It has no computer on the desk. He does most of his thinking with paper, a pen, and books. The walls have some photos, but it's not a fancy place. Warren believes that making smart decisions does not depend on a big office or new technology. It depends on careful thinking and staying calm. One of the things that surprises many people is Warren's love for Coca-Cola. He drinks 5 cans of Coke every day. He even jokes that he is 1/4 Coca-Cola. He enjoys simple pleasures. He doesn't drink expensive coffee or eat fancy meals. He prefers what he likes, not what is popular. He also owns a lot of Coca-Cola stock. He says that he believes in the company, its brand, and the way it makes people feel good. He likes to invest in companies that make things people love and use every day. Warren also believes in honesty and doing the right thing. He learned these values from his father, Howard Buffett. Howard taught Warren to be kind, fair, and never cheat. Warren still lives by those lessons. He says that your reputation is like a mirror, easy to break and hard to fix. He always tries to treat people with respect, whether they are rich or poor. Even though Warren is a billionaire, he does not spend money on fancy clothes or jewelry. He once said that his idea of a good day is reading, thinking, and eating popcorn. He lives simply because he believes that money should not change who you are. He thinks life is about learning, helping others, and being true to yourself. Warren also gives away most of his money. In 2006, he announced that he would donate 99% of his wealth to help people. He believes that rich people have a responsibility to give back. He does not want his children to become lazy because of money. Instead, he wants them to work hard and follow their own dreams. Warren gave a large part of his money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This foundation helps fight disease and improve education around the world. Warren trusts that his money will be used to do good. Warren's life teaches us many things. It shows us that we do not need to look rich to be successful. We do not need to follow others to be happy. We need to know who we are, what we love, and what we stand for. Warren chose a simple life, and through that choice, he became one of the most admired people in the world. He says the best investment you can make is in yourself. Learn new things, be honest, stay curious, and never forget where you came from. Warren Buffett's story is not just about money. It's about living a life of purpose, kindness, and joy, one Coke at a time. Warren Buffett's story is not just a story about money. It is a story about dreams, questions, and simple choices. From a little boy collecting cans to a young man full of questions, and finally to one of the richest and most respected people in the world, Warren never changed who he was. He stayed true to his values, to his curiosity, and to his love for learning. He didn't follow the crowd. He followed what made sense to him, even if it looked strange to others. Warren did not grow up with much, but he used what he had: his mind, his time, and his heart. He read books, asked questions, and kept learning. He believed that understanding the world was more valuable than showing off. He taught us that you do not need a big house, a fast car, or expensive clothes to be successful. What you need is wisdom, patience, and kindness. As a young man, Warren made many smart decisions because he was not afraid to ask why. He did not just want to earn money. He wanted to understand money, and because of that, he made better choices than most people. Later in life, even when he became a billionaire, he still lived simply. He still drank Coke, read the newspaper, and drove himself to work. What can we learn from Warren's life? The biggest lesson is this: success is not about looking rich. It's about thinking clearly, living honestly, and helping others. You don't need to be born rich. You need to be curious. You need to be willing to learn, make mistakes, and grow. You need to treat people well and keep your word. These are the real secrets to a meaningful life. So today, as you finish this story, remember, the most powerful tool you have is your mind. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and don't forget to enjoy the simple things in life, like a can of Coke or a quiet morning with a book. Congratulations on listening all the way to the end. That means your English is getting better. You trained your ears, your mind, and your heart. Keep going, you are doing great. Now here's a fun question for you. What does Warren Buffett drink every day? A. Orange juice. B. Coca-Cola. Comment your answer below with A or B. We'd love to see how many of you remember the details. And if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to the channel to support us. It gives us motivation to create more beautiful, helpful stories to help you learn English. If you want to help us keep making great content, please consider donating. In the beginning, it's not easy to produce high-quality lessons for free, but we do it to help you learn English with love and care. Every small donation makes a big difference. Thank you for listening, and keep learning.